When I looked at them running out to a 24-0 lead, I still don't believe that that's the Broncos that we're going to see when it really gets thick as the season wanes. But they're certainly not going to be the team that allowed the Indianapolis Colts to come back as well. Indianapolis playing behind a patchwork offensive line. Obviously, no running game to speak of. Their leading rusher was Trent Richardson. He had 20 yards on 6 carries. I mean, give me a break. They finished with 54 yards rushing for the entire game. Andrew Luck threw 2 interceptions to Raheem Moore. Obviously, that's not a good thing. There's no question about that, but again, he was bringing them back. In the end, the Denver Broncos was a superior team, and I think the story of the game was the fact that John Elway spent that $100 million, and you saw whether it was DeMarcus Ware with his 1.5 sacks, whether it was Aqib Talib, T.J. Ward, whatever the case may be, along with Moore, who was there last year. In the end, their defense seems to be improved, stopping Andrew Luck and the Indianapolis Colts on a 4th and 1. I don't know why that play was called. They also had a goal line stance where they was at the 5-yard line, and somehow, some way they had to settle for an Vinatieri field goal. I wasn't happy about all of that. Indianapolis is going to have some work to do. Seems to be the same old story with them. Offensive line is suspect, no running game whatsoever. Andrew Luck and the receivers have to come to the rescue, giving up too many huge leads, making too many mistakes early on, and then having to position yourself to come back. That seems to be the story with the Indianapolis Colts. But the Broncos didn't have Wes Welker, and even if they did, I still suspect that, again, they're not going to run away with anything when the season wanes and times get tight. So I would say it's neither scenario. Whether the first half or the second half, neither was with the team that we're going to see the Denver Broncos be throughout the season.
And I would say both. I would say that's exactly what we're going to see. My bottom line to the two teams most people like the most in the AFC, Broncos, Patriots, they both were missing a closer of a running back. My Patriots, we'll talk about them in a moment, they missed LeGarrette Blount.
That's right.
And he just closed the deal last year. He just shredded people. He bowling ball people down the stretch in the second halves. Last year, Noshawn was really good for the Denver Broncos. He was really, really good. Did I see? Did you see?
Yeah, I saw it.
Yeah, we'll talk about that
later.
Yeah. So what I saw from Peyton was the Peyton I saw in the preseason in the first half. His QBR, again, on a scale of 100, was 94.9 in the first half. In the second half, Peyton's QBR was 6.8. That's got to be the biggest drop-off in his career history. So what I saw was Peyton was unstoppable for a half. Then I saw the Broncos defense basically play prevent zone defense to start the second half, and Andrew Luck dinked and dunked them to death. Everything underneath, and I got to say, and you know I'm not the biggest Andrew Luck fan, but his 2 second-half touchdowns were a little lucky because he hits the tight end on the sideline, and all of a sudden, nobody tackled him. 3 guys said, you got him? You got him? No, I got him. No, you got him. And he just runs right through 3 guys up the sideline for a touchdown. Then the one to Nix in the end zone, it gets knocked up in the air. It should have been broken up. He forced it into a too tight of a window, and he got away with it. It was a lucky touchdown. So I'm looking at the second half, and if they'd had Noshawn, because the idea was, can Monte Ball close the deal? I don't think he can close the deal. He makes nobody miss. He's not that big. He's not that powerful. He runs straight ahead. And all of a sudden, when they started turning off his faucet, the whole faucet got shut off. Yeah. They lost rhythm. They lost their flow offensively. And Peyton just looked lost in the second half. And as you point out, they were lucky that defense made 2 early stands, or we'd be having a different conversation right now,
No
right?
question about it. And not only that, with Monty Ball not being Noshawn Moreno, not having the ability to run over, evade tacklers, shrug off tacklers, etc., you're going to find yourself in a situation where teams are going to look at Denver and say, if we can bring just a little more heat in Peyton Manning's way, we can thwart this offense. And I think that's what you have to worry about with the Denver Broncos. The Denver Broncos, to me, don't appear to be as formidable as they were last year. It's just one game, and I understand that. But the Indianapolis Colts have a lot of work to do, and they were in a position to make some noise in this game if it weren't for a few missed opportunities.
I agree. Last quick point in favor of the Broncos. Our guy, Emmanuel Sanders, is really good.
Yes, he is.
And he is bringing electricity to that offense that your man, Eric Decker, could never think about.
I agree with that. I agree with that.
Thank you.
I definitely agree with that.